I think it might be time to just send him to the G League for good. I think it might be time to just send Bronny James to Europe, to Australia, go to China, make your money. Because Bronny's a pro. Before we get into any of the criticism, Bronny is a pro. Let's be real. His attitude's good. This isn't a personal shot at Bronny. But when Chris Mignon is playing over you, like, you are not even close to being an NBA player. Especially because Bronny James is supposed to be this defender. The Lakers are down, like, Dalton Connect's is back in the rotation because of their injuries. Jake LaRavia is playing 32 minutes. This is the time when Bronny is meant to get his chance. But Chris Mignon is the player that's coming in as a defensive specialist. I gotta say, he's a much better defender than Bronny James. He is a much better defender than Bronny. He's a better player than Bronny James. Why is he a better player? Because he developed. Chris Mignon, 6'4". Bronny, 6'1". But, like, the man came off 2 years ago. He was coming off the bench at Cornell. He was coming off the bench at a bad Ivy League school 2 years ago. He played for Vanderbilt, averaged 6 and 3. He was coming off the bench at Vanderbilt. And I mean it. Look, he got his chance and he's taken it. This is one of those things where it's like you absolutely get your chance and you took it. If you put this guy in the G League, he probably averages 6 points a game. But the NBA is about being a specialist. And that is what he is. Like, it's the reason why Celtics fans have fallen in love with Hugo Gonzalez. Because he'll figure it out. Like, I watched a lot of him playing at those next generation tournaments on a team with himself and like Igor Demon. And like Hugo Gonzalez was their best player. So I watched a lot of those young Real Madrid teams. He'll figure out the scoring. But like he's still absolutely, like, Hugo Gonzalez is a dog. And like Celtics fans are like, yeah, you know what? Develop this guy. He could be legit. Like, Cade Cunningham could not do anything. He couldn't do anything on Hugo Gonzalez. And he was cooking everybody else. Gonzalez is already one of the best defenders in the league. And you've got Chris Mignon, who is that defensive specialist. And he's in over Bronny. If Bronny's not going to get in a game where you are playing an undrafted player who got cut from the Warriors after Summer League and has not played, he didn't do preseason with the Lakers, who just rocked up realistically. He just rocked up. And he is now out here making his debut for the Lakers. He got a nice strip. He was okay in his 2 minutes. He absolutely did not seem to be like he looked like he belonged. He looked like he belonged on the court. Whereas at the NBA level, I've never seen Bronny look like he's belonged on the court. And I've seen, like, Bronny's been so good in the G League that you can tell he's a pro. He is a pro. But he needs 2 to 3 years of development before there's any point in putting him on a roster. Because, again, you are playing Chris fucking Mignon. You're playing Chris Mignon. Like, he did not start every game for Vanderbilt last year in NCAA. And he is getting a look in before Bronny James. And it's one thing. People are like, oh, what about Nick Smith Jr. as well? The difference is that the role that Bronny's supposed to be able to do, which is be a defensive pest and defensive energy stopper, they've already brought in a young player who has done that and has overtaken Bronny in the pecking order. And again, an undrafted player who didn't start every game and averaged 6 points a game in college has overtaken Bronny in the pecking order at the role Bronny's supposed to be playing. Like, when the Lakers are down bad, when they are crying out for what Bronny's role is supposed to be, they've chosen an undrafted player over him. They've chosen an undrafted player who has never seen the floor for the Los Angeles Lakers before this game. Like, Gilbert Arenas is there thinking a fan is checking in. Thinking a fan is checking in, like, when he's coming into the game, like.
Is that a fan?
Who the fuck is that?
Ref. I mean, not ref, but chat. Who is
that? I'm not even hating. Who is that, chat?
The chat don't know either?
Who the fuck is this nigga, and why is he getting more minutes than Bronny? Why is he getting more minutes than Bronny?
Like, they have no idea. Nobody knew who he was, and I'm not going to lie. I didn't know who he was. I didn't really watch Summer League. That was WNBA season. I was watching WNBA. I didn't know who he was. And that's the problem, is that nobody has a clue who the guy is. There are Lakers fans that knew who he was and is like, I didn't even know he played for the Lakers. Like, he is a two-way player. And everybody is in shock about, no one has a clue who he is. People were convinced they took a guy off the street, and they basically did. Albeit, again, Chris Mignone is a pro. Chris Mignone is a pro. But, like, so is Bronny. But you can tell when, like, Chris Mignone is not going to be in the Lakers rotation. Chris Mignone's not going to be this high-level NBA player. He might end up, best case scenario, being a freaking, if he becomes a 40% three-point shooter, he might become a pest. But, like, up until this point, I think we can be honest here and say that that was the only hope Bronny has of being an NBA player, because he's never gonna grow. He's never going to be a 40% three-point shooter. He's never, like, his athleticism, he's one of those players that pops athletically, as in, like, he can jump high and he can have the occasional highlight clip, but doesn't have the fastest first step in the world. He's a bit like LeBron, where it's like, he doesn't have the fastest first step, but he can be a bit of a freight train. And once he ends up getting a step by you, he's strong enough, because Bronny's strong. But, like, the one role Bronny was ever going to have was to be this defensive pest lockdown player. And he has just been replaced in his role by Chris Mignone. He's been replaced in his role by a guy who didn't even do preseason and averaged 6 points a game at Vanderbilt. And I mean this, Chris Mignone is better than Bronny James. We've got to stop, everyone's got to stop lying. Everyone's got to stop lying about Bronny. People have got to stop lying to Bronny. LeBron's about to retire. LeBron's not going to leave the Lakers. Just send him permanently to the G League. Genuinely. Send him permanently to the G League. Send him, ship him off. Like, there should be a loan system. The Lakers should link with a random team in the ACB. I think NBA teams should link with random, when it becomes NBA Europe, you're going to start seeing players, instead of going to, because it's NBA, you're going to start seeing players being loaned. It's a thing they do in Europe, where it's like, let's just say you're a 17-year-old, or you're 18, and you're with the Barcelona Academy. You're going to be with, like, the first team when you're, like, too young, when you're really young and you're nowhere near ready, because if they loan you out somewhere, you're not going to play there. But when you get to the stage where you're ready to play, like, in the ACB, maybe Leb Gold, but you're not quite ready to do it for Barcelona because Barcelona are too good, they then go and loan you to somebody else. Like, if you are, it would be like one of these weird things. If, let's just say, you're good enough, you're not good enough to be in the rotation for the Thunder, but it doesn't count against the salary cap, but the Thunder are allowed to loan you. If another team wants you, Thunder can loan you to someone else. But it doesn't really work like that in America, because it's all about developing young players and it's a salary cap league. But it's one of those things where, let's just say Bronny next year, when there's NBA Europe in 2 years, if an NBA Europe team wants Bronny James, go and loan Bronny James to the NBA team in Europe. He stays under contract with the Lakers. The Lakers still pay him. It doesn't count against their salary cap, but they still have to pay the money. And he gets a year of playing, and he comes back to the Lakers the following year. And that's something where you're like, it could work out for a Bronny, because he needs to get out of America. Bronny has to claw his way up, and he's just not good enough. He's just not good enough. He's not anywhere near good enough right now. And it's just one of those things where he's got to know his level, because you're never done. You're absolutely never done. You can never say never. You can always come back to the league. But he's so far off. He's genuinely so far off. That it's not doing him any good, because he's a good pro. He is a good pro. And it's just, the problem is that in America, they deem being a good pro as only the NBA is the pros. But I'm like, he's not one of the best 450 players in the world. And he doesn't do one thing well enough to get on the court at the NBA level. And he's not like some raw prospect either. Like, he's relatively polished in his ability. Like, he's not somebody that is just raw. Whether that, like, he has high IQ. He's relatively polished. So there's not going to be that much improvement skill-wise. There's not going to be that much improvement feel for the game-wise. Because he is 19 going on 25. He's got to get experience. He's got to get reps. He's got to get playing against top players. He's just got to be better in his role. He's just got to be better. And that's not a knock on Bronny, because he's good. He's a great basketball player. He's better than every single person more than likely watching this video. But at the NBA level, there is not one thing that he does well. Like, and as we've seen, the role that he was meant to have been, that people pitched, oh, you know, he can be like this Davion Mitchell lockdown player. First of all, I'm a Heat fan. Davion Mitchell is so much better than him. There's a reason he went so high in the draft. And second of all, the Lakers have already replaced Bronny, because Bronny is not the first choice. Like, basically, Bronny is not the first choice first two guard off the bench. Bronny is the 15th player on the roster. They brought in the 18th player on the roster onto the roster and played him over Bronny. He's not even close, and he's never going to play. There's something needs to be done. And it's not on Bronny, but this dude's just better. He's just better at his role. They already have what Bronny was supposed to do, someone better at that. And not only that, they have Marcus Smart coming off the bench, who's also better. They have Marcus Smart, who's, people are saying, oh, Bronny can be Marcus Smart. No. Like, maybe in 10 years' time, but he's not going to become Marcus Smart sitting on the end of the bench at any time there's any sort of an issue with injuries. They're going to call up a G League player to play over him. He's not going to get better doing that. So anyway, I'll see you guys.